Hello everyone, welcome to StudyIQ English, your favorite UPSC platform in India. In today's topic, we will refer to the scheduled tribe population in India, more specifically the Apatani tribe. Apatani tribe that comes from the beautiful Ziro Valley or the Ziro Valley in Arunachal Pradesh is in the news today. One of its fascinating customs is being threatened due to globalization, due to urbanization and modernity. As young Apatani women continue to reject the custom, continue to move towards a more modern, towards a more globalized lifestyle, it is the elder women in the community who today are the custodians of a very fascinating tradition and custom. Let's look at this custom and let's also understand that the Apatani tribe is known for its unique language, its unique religious practices, as well as the great agroforestry system that they cultivate. So looking at this tribe, the Apatani tribals are scheduled tribes identified in the constitution. Now they live in the Ziro Valley region. Some people also choose to call it Ziro Valley, that's fine. And this is in the lower Subansiri district. If you can look at the map, you can make out the location within the state of Arunachal Pradesh. Now, we all know that India has quite a high, that's 8.6% of scheduled tribal population, and these are diverse. They inhabit the central states as well as the southern and eastern ones, spreading onto islands like Andaman and Nicobar. Recently, the Great Nicobar Project has also made the Shompen tribe and the Nicobarese tribe to come in the news. Today, we talk about the Apatani tribe. Now, these tribes live in this beautiful bowl shaped Ziro Valley, nestled in the eastern Himalayan region. They talk in the Tani linguistic language family. So, that's the language of communication, that's the dialect that they use. And this dialect comes from the larger group of Tibeto Burman family of languages. Now, talking about globally, how have they been getting recognition? So, now the Ziro Valley is noted for a very traditional ecological cultivation practice. These people practice community agriculture, they practice agroforestry, a highly sustainable form of agriculture, which the government recommends and highly applauds them for. They have also been proposed to be identified under the UNESCO World Heritage Site for the same reason. Now, today we are looking at a very special custom that the women of the Apatani community have been following. The custom is about using facial tattoos and wooden nose plugs. A lot of people might wonder, why did they need such a custom? Why would they need such a body modification ritual? Now it all boils down to necessity. I keep telling my students multiple times, cultures are always a product of need. The need could be economic, the need could be geographical, the need could be cultural itself. For example, the Apatani women, to protect themselves from being captured by the members of other tribes, deliberately would distort their appearance by putting on the wooden nose plugs. Eventually, over a period of certain generations, it became a custom. It started being associated with dignity, with cultural respect, and hence women continue to either put facial tattoos, elaborate ones, symbolic ones, and at the same time, they were also plugging their noses with wooden plugs, as you can see in the picture here. But then back in the 1970s, the government banned the practice. The government said it is disabling the young women of the community in coming out and migrating outside the region, in finding modern urban education and job opportunities. It was also felt that it is being forced on a certain section of women, who are the newer generation educated women. Hence, the practice faded by. But today it is the elder ladies of the community who continue to celebrate and herald this custom. Now, they have been in the news for the same reason recently. But apart from this very interesting cultural practice, the Apatani tribe is also being highlighted for its beautiful practice of rice fish farming on terraced fields. They grow multiple varieties of rice, including the mipia, imo, imio, along with a very famous fish species called as gihi. Now, they therefore maintain social agroforestry. Their climate resilient agriculture has been known to save water, to be extremely organic and soil friendly in nature. And also, it is about conserving their cultural practices. Another thing they are known for is the bamboo culture. Now, bamboo forms a very essential part of their culture. Few months back, we had also spoken about the bamboo drip agriculture. That's also very popular in places like Meghalaya. It is a very age old traditional way of irrigating the crops. And here, in the case of Arunachal's Apatani tribe, also, we see that bamboo is used in daily life, small goods making. It is used for crafts, handicrafts, rituals. It also is a symbol of ecological harmony because we know that tribals are very closely dependent on the forest ecosystem and therefore majority of the products that they make, either for consumption or for selling in the markets, they are all based on forest products or minus forest products. And here, the Apatani tribe uses bamboo in a very big way. Now, talking about how does government ban on practices like the wood plugs in the nose? Or for that matter, there are certain Indo-Myanmar tribes, Burmese tribe, who also put a number of rings on their necks to elongate their necks. Now, these customs eventually get prohibited by the government because the government feels that it could be depriving some people from their independent rights over their body, their own life choices. Similarly, the government also feels these customs, which are quite unique, they are not common in the mainstream. Sometimes they inhibit the cultural integration of tribals in the mainstream society. But that also raises a question on India's polycultural heritage. We know that India is a society that's completely heterogeneous, a mix of variety religions, variety linguistic groups, many kinds of tribals. Now look at Schedule 5, Schedule 6 of the Constitution, and we understand that how many states in India house beautiful, diverse variety of tribal communities. Now each community has its own custom, therefore. Today, by prohibiting such cultural practices, are we not distorting the age old tribal heritage? Is it not a case of culture loss and a culture homogenization? That's the question we are left with. Now, in the recent development, Apatani traditions and sustainable practices have been highlighted. The government has really appreciated the agroforestry system, the climate friendly agriculture that they do. But at the same time, when the government discourages cultural practices, it poses an even bigger question. Just for integrating in society, is it valid to do away with age old known customs? As the newer tribal populations are migrating in the mainstream, they are moving out of their villages, they are taking up modern education. Who therefore will follow all these customs? So, for a society like India, it is something like a culture loss. Now, at the same time, talking about the number of scheduled tribes in India, we often say that as per the 2011 census, we have about 8.6% of people under the scheduled tribe community banner in India. This means about 104 million scheduled tribes. And these tribals use more than 270 varieties of languages, which means about 2,250 unique dialects. Many of these dialects are not written down. They do not have a written script or a written record. But at the same time, they just talk about the linguistic diversity in them. Majority of these languages therefore remain oral, but there is a need to conserve them. Now, the eighth schedule of the Indian Constitution today also has given recognition to four tribal languages, namely the Bodo, the Dogri, Maithili, and Santhali. This happened back in 2003 via the 92nd Amendment Act. At the same time, back in 1992, the government under 71st Amendment Act had also given Konkani, Manipuri, and Nepali scheduled language status. All that under the 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution, totally bringing up the number of languages to 22 today. Now, there are some other institutes and organizations that work to preserve tribal culture. For example, we have the TRI, the Tribal Research Institute. We have the Eklavya Model Residential Schools by the government, who teach local languages of tribal communities, who also give chance to tribal students who have shown merit in their academic performance to come and continue their schooling completely up to 12th standard. At the same time, we have UNESCO. We have the Sahitya Academy programs that talk about promoting endangered tribal languages. And on that note, before we end, it's also a good reminder to us to talk about the tribal associated intangible cultural heritage of India recognized by UNESCO under the intangible heritage. Intangible is akin to something that you cannot see or touch, but it's there. It's there because it's a part of culture. So, one, of course, is the Kalbelia folk dance that comes from Rajasthan. Then we talk about the Mudiyatu ritual theatre. It comes from Kerala. the dance and drama of Kerala. Then we speak about the Sankirtana, ritual of singing, drumming, and dancing coming from Manipur. Then you have the Buddhist chanting of Ladakh, the recitation of sacred Buddhist texts and literature in the Trans Himalayan Ladakh region. And of course, we talk about the traditional brass and copper craft of utensil making among the Thateras as you call them more colloquially, of the Punjab region. Now, let's understand many of these practices are not just usual or not just restricted to tribals. There are many more communities, for example, in Punjab, who practice the traditional brass and copper making. But why have they been registered in the tribal identity? Is because tribes continue to make their livelihoods through these. It is a symbol of tribal pride and culture. And hence we say that in a country like India, it becomes a very big question that whenever you put a stop on a local custom or a tribal custom, you may end up threatening the very culture of that region in the long run. So now this event is of course open up to the debate. You can leave a thread in the comment box, talk about it, share your suggestions. And before I take your leave, please understand that we have the sale on, and the sale is applicable to all the courses. So therefore, it's not just about UPSC exam, it's about your optional exam in UPSC, it's state PSC and judiciary. The sale is there, and it's a great opportunity to take benefit from the best mentorship in the industry. You could use the code live on the screen to avail this discount. And also remember, it is only valid till 12th September 2025, 11 p.m. in the night. So please hurry up. Thank you so much.